credit and with, what maybe a better idea would be put all of everything when you mention cars all together into one unit and dive really deep in that. Like I said, mainly I'd use this unit as a spiraling back because we had done loans, we had done insurance. Now let's pull this together in this buying a car. So there's two different ways you can look at it.
It looks like we have a question from Debbie.
Yeah,
I recognize Debbie from a training. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. Yes, I saw the additional unit and I had to sign up immediately. One of the things I don't hear you addressing, but I'd like you to, is the presumption that students will be getting insurance. Where I teach, there is a high propensity to just decide that they're not going to be insured drivers. And they know that it is not legal in Washington state. And because of they're just making that decision. So it's kind of, it's frightening, but I have to, bury that and just say, well, let's talk about, what the legalities are and things like that. So maybe thinking about like bringing in the Washington state rules about being an insured driver, and then I don't know how to like address it, but like the legalities of that and the future decision, especially if you're an 18 already, you're not a minor any longer,
No, those are excellent points. I actually spend a whole day when we do insurance on talking about the legalities of it. And I luck out, maybe it's luck out, maybe it's not luck out. I don't know which way you want to look at it. It seems like every single time I talk about it, I end up with one student or more who brings up a story in the last couple of months in their own family that someone didn't have insurance. They got pulled over for a speeding or something like that. And that their parent or whoever's driving there actually got arrested because they didn't have it. They had a past speeding ticket, and so they realize, and then they will literally, so then I'll have them share and they'll talk about, this last one talked about all the fines and fees that were charged and the court fees. And they said, my mom learned the hard lesson. It would have been much better to have just been paying for the insurance. It's like, perfect. I don't have to say anything else. So yeah, that is a sad part. We luck out in a pretty good luck. Maybe, I don't know if you're on the west side and the east side, insurance is cheaper. That when I usually start, it's one of them, when I start that lesson each time we do insurance, I always ask, I'm not going to look, I'm not going to report, but how many, believe that it's okay to drive without insurance, even though it's illegal. And I almost get no hands. They all say, nope, I've got insurance. And you can ask them, okay, and I sometimes get it sneakily by asking, okay, we're going to do a thing on what insurance company everyone uses. And have everyone tell me their insurance that's on their insurance card. So we don't tend to have too many. Usually one or two have a story, but that's scary that you have that many. That is, but that is like, you tell them to buy uninsured, underinsured insurance.
Well, we haven't really gotten to that point. I'm just in the beginning part in my independent living course, but it's been a discussion I teach another group with seniors, and it's been a topic that is just like off the cuff, and it's kind of frightening, but people have to make decisions at times. And those of us who, I don't know, I understand the decision that has been made.
Well, and in some families, if it's choosing my car insurance versus my groceries, I know which one I would buy, so I also am empathetic of that. I try to tell my students, if you just can't afford the insurance, then you really should be looking at public transportation. And you need to look at other alternatives. But great point. Sad part, but you're right. We should always be bringing that up about Washington state insurance. Anything else? Okay, I think we move forward.
Awesome.
Let's see. How are we doing time-wise? I haven't looked at my time. Oh,
we're at, yep.
5 o'clock. Okay, we're doing okay. I just want to honor everybody's time because I know most people have families to go to and things that they want to do. So I just wanted to make sure we weren't. And then the last lesson they have is sealing the deal. So as you can guess, this is buying the car. And this one of the things that's really valuable is they have a list of what you need to bring to a dealership when buying a car. They also explain how buying a car from a private party differs and what you're going to need with the private party and what you're going to need when you go to license it. Because if you do it through a dealer, their licensing and registration happens automatically there. And you may not know about when you go to the Department of Licensing what you need. And then some best practices for negotiating a car price, because helping them know that the sticker price is negotiable with cars. All right, and the teacher tidbits. The article on what to bring to a car is great and should be a classroom. I then created a bullet item handout because it's written into an article. I created a bullet item so they can have that to take home, put in their file cabinet, hang on to it. Most of my seniors, it's really interesting. I give my kids different little handouts like this, whether it's here or with taxes, of things they're going to need to be an adult. And it's amazing how many of them come back to me and say, do you know, I still have your file and I still use it to look things up. And part of it, I use it as my own example. I said, I don't buy cars very often at all. And I said, the last time I did in 2021, I said, luckily it was before all the prices went crazy. And I got to use one. I said, I'd forgotten what to bring. It had been 16 years since I bought a car. And I said, it was like, I didn't even know. So, I said, it's really important to hang on to these things. They have 2 videos in this on negotiating and on closing. They're both really good videos. They show different items. So definitely watch both of the videos in this activity. This is where that research, find your next car, that Google slide activity is that we were supposed to start in the first one with choosing a car. I used it at the very end and did the whole thing at once from choosing a car. Now, I reduced the slides in it. They have it where you go through an assessment of your needs, then you choose a car, and then you look up the car for both new and used and leasing, the exact same car that you found. I just found, you know what? I'm going to have them find the car 99.9%. I'm having them find it used, unless they can somehow show me they're a trust fund baby and can afford a new one. They're going to have to go with used, and we do all the financing with that. It's supposed to be where they look at, well, this is the car that meets my needs. Here's if I buy it new. Here's if I buy it used. It just got to be buying the same car too many times and looking up at too many places, and then they had to pull the new price in and then the used price, and it was just too many different places. If you had really advanced gifted students who needed some deeper enrichment, you could give them the whole thing. I mean, it might be a good idea to have the Google slide activity both ways. And if you got some kids that really need that enrichment, give them the full stack. The others give the smaller one. But it basically stepped them through doing a needs assessment, then finding a car that met their price, then doing the loan and the down payment and the insurance and the total cost of that car all the way through, so they would know, okay, I found this car and here's what my monthly costs are going to be. So it was a great way to finalize and pull it all together. So it was a great activity for that. Any questions or comments? Okay. So not that I'm trying to plug Next Gen, they also have, just like they have the mini unit out here, they have a mini unit on buying a house too. So that kind of follows the same thing, from figuring out your needs to figuring out your loans, all the costs of owning a home. Again, when you try to do that with kids, they struggle to know all the costs of owning a home versus renting. When I do budgeting with them, near the end, I give them each a life. You're a renter, you're a homeowner, you have kids, you don't have kids, you're married, you've got child support, you've got this thing, and they have to figure out their life. Well, the biggest problem I find with most of the kids when they do for their life on home ownership, they don't put anything in for property taxes. They don't put they don't increase their water bill. They don't increase the heating bill. They don't put in just miscellaneous, for fertilizer and things like that, which you have a home, you're going to have those expenses. If you have an apartment, your water bill and all those are going to be much smaller. Your electric bill is even lower because you're being heated by other units around you. You don't get caught with any other, oops, the dishwasher went out expenses. So it's an eye opener to them on those. So I found that mini unit to be a help there. Right. I think that was the last slide, right? So I guess my final thing is, remember, all of the materials are customizable. So they're excellent for scaffolding for all SPED levels and all ELL. I should have put that in there. My apologies. I hate to say it, when you teach in Spokane, there's not too many different languages, but if you're on the West Side, you really have to think about that even more than we do. All of their resources, though, just in case you didn't know, almost all of their resources are available in Spanish. So if you have an activity or printout, they have a Spanish copy and an English copy of it already ready for you. So again, if you have a lot of Spanish speaking, it's a great, Next Gen Personal Finance is a great resource to be able to have it where you're giving the exact same worksheet and lesson to both in their languages. The videos and the charts provide a variety of presentation modalities already built in, and they tend to break it up with a discussion, then a video, then an article, then more discussion or video, get them moving. So it helps you out with the lesson planning. I would not say that most of this would be something I would hand to a sub. You really need to make sure it's someone who understands finance and understands the costs and understands your students before you would present something like this. So just don't think, oh, I'm going to be